Ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again with more Metal Gear Rising. And for more high-octane action with your host, me. If I remember correctly, we just killed Sword Dog. Now it's time to do what we do best. So we're also rocking out on the new desk, but we still have some adjustments to make. It still feels a little weird to me because I'm used to my other desk. So it's going to be a while before this feels normal. I didn't have a particular reason for doing that. I just kind of wanted to see what happened. Oh yeah, I forgot I could go in rooms and just grab shit. God, I forgot how much fun it was to just slice the shit out of random plops. Because the thing is, because the slashes are never like truly accurate to the hitbox that you see, so sometimes shit will just like fall apart in the most asinine manner possible. Anyway, let's go fuck up these guys.
Didn't you say you'd been here before, Boris?
Once, back when it was still Soviet territory.
Seems like it'd be a lovely place, if it weren't a war zone.
The Pearl of the Black Sea, they called it, back when more Russians lived there. It was a very popular resort spot for the USSR. This is before the wall fell, of course. Then Russia and Georgia began to fight over the area.
Kicking off the war in the early 90s.
Georgia was a Soviet republic. Abkhazia, a semi-autonomous state within it. The Soviets like to stoke ethnic rivalries between the two. And not just there, in all the outlying territories. It kept them easier to control.
But with the Russians no longer watching over the two.
Duh. The Abkhaz were scared. They knew an independent Georgia would swallow their nation sooner or later. So they took advantage of a Georgian military coup to declare their own independence in '92. Of course, the new Georgian government was not happy to hear this, and so...
The same old story.
And with Russia supporting the Abkhaz, it was a stalemate. 2 years later, the ceasefire meant Abkhazia was finally independent, but not officially. They still are not formally recognized by Georgia, or most of the international community.
This region is filled with breakaway states.
This is true. There is South Ossetia, also in Georgia. Transnistria in East Moldova, and Nagorno-Karabakh, which broke from Azerbaijan. In any case, even Russia did not officially recognize Abkhazia as independent until 2008. So it was not long ago Sukhumi was a war zone. It has changed dramatically since then. They have been rebuilding steadily, with Russian support, ever since SOP was shut down.
Good to hear. But doesn't that leave them wrapped around Russia's little finger?
It does. Which is why Dolzaev is calling for a truly independent state. He wants an Abkhazia that takes orders from no one. Not Georgia, not Moscow.
Sounds like a worthy cause.
Duh. But many Abkhaz are happy with the reconstruction Russian support makes possible. Few of his fellow countrymen were interested in what Dolzaev had to say. At first.
And then Desperado showed up.
Exactly. They brought the sad ending to this little history lesson. It is no wonder so many people mistrust PMCs, eh?
I suppose not. Boris, do we have anything else on Dolzaev? Any more on his background?
Very little confirmed intel, but it seems he is a former Chechen insurgent. He claims he was part of the Chechen National Congress when they declared independence in '91. This was just after the famous coup attempt in Moscow in August. Things were not stable. Gorbachev lost his political power. It was Yeltsin who signed the Belavezha Accords.
Right. It created the Commonwealth of Independent States. All republics that made up the USSR became independent.
The problem is, Chechnya was never a true republic. It was an autonomous state, but still part of the Russian Republic.
Like how Abkhazia was an autonomous state within the Georgian Republic.
Duh. The same kind of sad story. Russia does not recognize Chechnya as independent. They send troops and the fighting begins. It is said 250,000 Chechens were killed over the 2 wars that followed. 1/4 the entire population. The Chechens were forced to give in, and the war officially ended.
But the rebels kept on fighting.
Insurgents fled into Caucasus Mountains, formed several factions. They waged guerrilla war on Russia ever since. We think Doltsev is the leader of just such a rebel group.
Sounds like Russia bears some of the blame for radicalizing him and his men.
I love my homeland, but she is not perfect. What nation is? Just remember, this could all be smoke. We cannot even confirm Doltsev is truly ethnic Chechen.
Say he is, though. What would he be after here in Abkhazia?
Some Chechen militants volunteered to fight for the Abkhaz in their war in the early 90s. But when Russia recognized Abkhazia to keep Georgia in check, they also began funding recovery.
Which the Dozaev crowd see as a play to gain influence. But wasn't the Chechen recovery funded by Russia?
Duh. And many rebels believe this is why their people gave up on independence. Perhaps this is exactly why Doltsev is here, to alert the people before it can happen again. But if the Abkhaz people are not interested in fighting, his plan could backfire.
So in a way, it's Russian policy that brought him here. He thinks he's fighting to make these people free.
Whatever his motives, no one elected him and no one gave him a permit for murder. Now that he is allied with Desperado, he is too dangerous to ignore. Raiden, if you by use...
I always loved the little history lessons. And to think we missed all this the first time.
What was up with that wolf dog UG? Some pretty freaky shit.
Hadn't thought too much about it.
Really? I keep wondering, why give it intelligence if you're not gonna let it think for itself?
Good question.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if it improved combat performance.
Now that you mention it, it didn't fight like your typical UG. It felt more like I was facing off against a cyborg.
Oh. I guess the added smarts make for a tougher opponent after all.
That's not what I mean. It wasn't really tougher than your average UG. More like it was, I don't know, hesitant. It didn't follow through on its attacks either.
Guess that's why it was still just a prototype. But then why put it out on the front lines?
Who knows? Maybe it was the field test. In any case, probably not the result they were hoping for. One thing I don't understand, Kev. Desperado must be violating all kinds of laws here. Why hasn't the international community gotten involved?
Well, from a purely legal standpoint, it's actually not so cut and dry. First, there's the fact that Abkhazia is still not a member of the UN. Only Russia and a few other breakaway states even recognize it as a sovereign nation. In the eyes of most of the international community, Abkhazia is technically still part of Georgia, which would make this an internal Georgian issue.
Guess you can't really call it a coup if the displaced government was never seen as legitimate.
Exactly. And even if everyone agrees it was a coup, it can be tough to tell which regime is more legit. Sometimes you'll see the military topple a dictator and establish a provisionary government, for example. Now, if they confirmed atrocities were taking place, the UN could deploy troops, recognize government or not.
Yeah, but they learned their lesson in Somalia.
Right. Ever since then, they've been a lot more reluctant to get involved in civil wars.
So what about the US and Russia? What's their take on all this?
Well, America was never very friendly with Abkhazia or South Ossetia in the first place. And the Georgian government's a regional ally, so the US really has no cause to intervene. Russia wants the old government back, of course. The regime open to their influence. I doubt they'll opt for any large-scale action. Tensions with Georgia are running high already, but you can bet your ass they won't just sit on the sidelines. Boris has got a lot of connections in the Russian bureaucracy. Ex-military buddies. The Abkhaz are officially our clients, but I'm sure it's Russia that chose us. Maybe footing the bill, too. They can't use their actual special forces, so they call us instead. That's the beauty of PMCs.
We're not bound by the same rules as state-sponsored military.
Other countries would be outraged if the Russians went into places we can go freely. From our side, no state to answer to means we can run things as we see fit. By our own code, no compromises.
Then again, there's no one to say our code is what's right.
True. And opinions on that change from person to person, situation to situation. But you let your moral compass waver at all in this business, and real people pay the price. Money's always a factor, of course, but when it becomes the factor, that's when you got problems. The Montreux document lays out guidelines for what PMCs can and can't do, but there's no way to enforce it. A lot of people see that as the fatal flaw of the entire industry. After all, that's how we end up with rogue outfits like Desperado. Then again, it's also what leaves Maverick free to go after them. The industry has a bad rep, but it isn't good or bad itself. It's up to the morals of those who work in it. All we can do is what we think is right and try to lead by example. Anyway, sorry, you know how I am about this stuff. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Don't apologize. That's exactly why we took this job. Taking Sakumi back is the right thing to do.
Agreed. And now, that's all up to you, buddy.
We always talk about the Montreux document, but why hasn't anyone made it legally binding?
People are trying to, both inside and outside the industry, but it's easier said than done. Even with 17 countries on board, it's still just a set of guidelines. They'd need to negotiate an actual treaty based on that agreement for it to become official. And we both know getting everyone to sign on wouldn't be easy.
Yeah. Every government's for regulating PMCs until it restricts how they can use them themselves.
It gets complicated when you try to put it all in exact legal terms, too. A treaty would need to distinguish a PMC's home nation, the one it's active in, and the one that contracted it. Then you have the industry itself, which isn't exactly thrilled at the prospect of greater regulation. There's just so many different parties involved, and everyone's got their own motivations. So yeah, long story short, we're a long way from getting anything legally binding anytime soon.
Sorry I asked.
Raiden, head for...
You know, I almost felt sorry for the little guy.
What? That UG? Why? Because it couldn't disobey its orders?
Yeah, that, and...
Wait, I think we listened to
was
this
it,
one.
maybe it was...
You could be... It's just...
That was no cuddly puppy
No, whatever it... Copy that.
Yeah. You know, our last chat got me thinking about all the problems with PMCs.
Oh? You come up with a solution to all our industry's ills, then?
Yeah. Let's just change the acronym.
That's your solution? Just change the name and change the reputation, eh? To what? I know you like private security provider, but that'd be PSP. Private military security? PMS?
Well, the Montreux document uses PMSC, right? Private Military and Security Company. A bit more comprehensive. And a bit more awkward too, I guess. Seems like it never really caught on.
Yeah, we only use PMSC on contracts, or when we're specifically excluding older-style PMCs.
I guess once a name sticks, that's it. Old habits are hard to break.
Right. Besides, I think we're past the point that a name change would do much for the industry's image.
I get your point. Though it did work once before. We don't call them mercenaries anymore, do we?
By the way, Raiden, we're not picking up any EXIF codes here either. They're all unaffiliated.
Makes sense. We're enemies. Desperado's EXIF code won't match ours, and vice versa. How much do you know about how EXIF works?
Not much. Just that it comes up as a positive match for friendlies and unaffiliated for anyone else.
Which could be friendlies or neutrals not broadcasting the same code for some reason. Say a damaged transmitter or signal interference. But 99 times out of 100, yeah, it's an enemy. EXIF is based on the IFF radio system aircraft use. Stands for Expanded Identification Friend or Foe.
Too bad it only actively IDs friends and not enemies. But I guess asking troops to broadcast, "Hey, enemy here, kill me," would be a bit much.
Telling friends and enemies apart was always a problem in the air, but it's gotten tricky on the ground too. Especially in the War on Terror, with all these PMCs and multinational forces mixing together. The US Army experimented with infrared patches to ID allies. They'd show up in night vision.
Then SOP came along and offered a more efficient method?
Right. SOP's gone now, but its ID protocol is still used all over. ID chips and dog tags, transponders required on all vehicles, aircraft, UGs, cyborgs, you name it.
But if everyone's using the same basic system, how do armies hide their info from the enemy?
Heavy-duty encryption, for one. The chips also use a hybrid cross-spectrum system to transmit the data. Without the proper key, it's hard to pick up the signal in the first place. PMCs typically only share their codes with nations or other PMCs they're working with.
What happens if they end up on different sides later? Like in a separate conflict?
They just generate a new code and encryption key. The point is, EXIF is required on all combat units, but it's pretty easy to hide the signal.
And 99 times out of 100, unaffiliated means it's a hostile?
Right. Just like with IFF and aircraft. You're a quick study, Courtney.
Nice history lesson, Teach. Now, if you're done, I think you have a nation to save.
Just a little on-the-job training, Kev. Riding out.
Huh. I feel like I actually learned something in that.
No? Did you need...
No, just wanted to...
Oh.
A most fascinating opponent, wouldn't you say?
What did you make of it, Doc?
Well, everything it said seems feasible enough. It's true all UGs feature high-level AI these days. Given enough time to adapt and learn, a neural AI could certainly become able to comprehend speech. Then, with the right interface, speech and conversation will be possible.
But what about it having actual intelligence? John Searle disproved the viability of the Turing test back in 1980. In other words, just because something talks like a person doesn't mean it's really thinking. It could just be following some program designed to make it seem as intelligent as possible.
I'm impressed. You seem quite knowledgeable in this field.
I had a pretty memorable chat with an AI once, about 10 years ago. After that, I did a little reading.
Turn off the game
yes, of
right in.
course. The Patriot AI. I heard of this.
That's
Was
pretty
it
hype.
actually intelligent, or just programmed to pretend? I'm still not sure.
I suppose it depends on how one defines intelligence. For example, many term chess-playing AIs and such as having sectional intelligence. Some in the field believe that sentience or self-consciousness is a necessary part of the definition. When you ask if this UG had intelligence, I suspect this is more your criteria?
Yeah, of course. Then you could ask, how do you define sentience exactly? And on and on and on.
Indeed. These terms can indicate a wide variety of meanings depending on one's understanding. Perhaps it is less important to ask if the AI was intelligent or not than to ask how did the AI operate. After all, labels are useful only when they further pursuit of the truth. And that, as you well know, is the goal of all science.
Sure, Doc. Thanks. I guess.
I like Doctor.
Doc, that wolf UG, you think it's possible to repair it?
Why do you ask?
Just curious.
Well, normal brain tissue degrades starting approximately 3 minutes after the heart stops. With neural AI, however, the spin of the internal electrons is retained even after electric power is cut. Assuming there is no damage to the actual AI hardware itself, yes, repairs should be possible.
Okay.
Whatever state it is in, I would certainly appreciate it if you could bring it back with you.
I'll see what I can do. But the mission takes priority.
Of course. I would never suggest otherwise.
But let's just say this thing is what it claimed to be. You think there are other intelligent UGs out there? Because if that's the case, I've got a feeling future missions are only gonna get rougher.
Indeed. Dozens of UGs chatting away on the field would be enough to drive anyone to distraction. Neural AIs are not von Neumann computers, keep in mind. Structurally, they are closer to human brains. Hardware and software are indivisible. The learning data can't simply be transplanted to other AIs.
So it can't be copied or backed up either.
Normal UGs must be taught individually. This entails streaming provisional, audiovisual, and body sensor data until it's ready to be shipped out. This process can be sped up by increasing and improving processing speed. But I have no data on how long it would take to train such an AI how to converse. I couldn't even tell you if there's a training program established for such a thing in the first place. If it is indeed a prototype, it likely learned and honed its skills via the process of trial and error.
So it's unique.
I cannot say with certainty, but I have not heard of any UG like this before. I would imagine that it was telling the truth when it called itself an experimental prototype. There may be others. Or perhaps it's the only one in existence.
Glad we narrowed that down then.
My apologies, Raiden. I realize we never concluded our discussion on carbon nanotube muscle fibers.
Didn't we?
CNT drove major innovations in the field of cybernetics, not to mention unmanned gears. As I'm sure you are aware, Walker-type UGs require numerous linear actuators in order to function.
Previously, organic polymers or cultivated muscle cells were used to that purpose. But the advancement of CNT technology allowed for comparable power in a far more compact package. This meant the same size UGs could be equipped with even greater firepower. Take the redesigned Metal Gear Ray, for example.
They took all the space the old artificial muscles filled up and stuffed it with weapons.
Precisely. Of course, UGs have improved in many ways, all to keep pace with cyborg advancements, you know. After all, the original Metal Gear program was designed to unite infantry and weaponry. As an evolution of this concept, the UG is now in direct competition with the cyborg. And the cyborgs already have an advantage with their maneuverability and smaller size, as you well know. Of course, UGs are not dependent on the skills of a human host.
Long story short, watch out for UGs.
Well, yes, basically. Cyborgs have matched unmanned gears in many respects, but then UG tech advances every day. Do not underestimate any you might run into.
Copy that. Doc, all the UG talk got me thinking. Why don't we see more manned gears?
Ah, yes, with a pilot. The bipedal tanks and such things, I must confess I have not followed the field closely as of late. But then, who has? Since Metal Gear A, all the advances and the funding in mobile artillery has been UGs.
So why is that?
Well, UGs take many more forms. Aerial drones, treaded tanks, armored transports. And they are perfect for the 3D work. Jobs too dull, too dirty, or too dangerous for men. True Metal Gears with a pilot and nuclear payload were huge and very expensive. They were not practical. It turned out the greater need was for smaller, cheaper units, deployed more easily and in greater numbers. So the field narrowed in on this aspect of gear design, an all-terrain link between infantry and artillery. But even then, the UG models were more popular. In most cases, they simply made more sense.
But aren't there situations where you'd want gear-level power, but also a human pilot there to make decisions? UG AI has gotten better, but it's still terrible at handling anything unexpected.
But Raiden, this is exactly the role the cyborg has taken. On the manned gear, any advantage of a cyborg in offensive power comes with a matching increase in size. This makes it so large as to no longer be practical for most infantry missions. Conversely, the smaller models are so close to cyborgs that, well, what is the point?
Cyborgs are smaller, cheaper, more nimble.
Precisely. Perhaps soon we will see the cyborg take the place of the UG, as the UG has done to the manned gear.
What, with wings? Scooting around on wheels?
Why do you laugh? It is the logical next step to have a human brain integrated into a tank or a plane.
Now you're getting into some B-grade sci-fi territory, Doc.
Oh, but it is all quite possible, I assure you. Just consider the possibilities. A humanoid friend for everyday life, yes, but the brainstem can be easily extracted and inserted into whatever chassis best suits the mission. So, yes, I suppose the paradigm could be flipped on its head. As UGs become smaller and smarter, they could begin to fill the cyborg's role. They will come to resemble them more and more in form and function, no doubt. I suppose at some point they would no longer be UGs, but androids. Glorious!
It's okay. See, boys and girls, your boy ain't gonna be single forever. Androids. UGs. Bitches.
One thing about fighting these cyborgs, Doctor, it's strange in a way.
Oh? How do you mean?
I can slice them to pieces, and with all their pain and emotion suppressed, they don't feel a thing. At least against SOP troops. You never forgot they were real people. But these cyborgs, it starts to feel like I'm taking on unmanned gears, robots, not living, breathing men.
Intriguing. Tell me, does it help assuage the natural feelings of guilt? There is no reason to avoid this topic. Man has wrestled with it as long as there has been war. Guns were a huge step, of course, as it became easier to take a life, physically and mentally. Then, destroying a tank or airplane, where you no longer had to see your enemy's face as he perished. Eventually, remote-controlled drones further distanced the killer from his victim. much like the video games. I suppose cyborg soldiers could be seen as yet another step in dehumanizing death.
Maybe. I do feel like I could forget I'm taking the lives of real people here.
Well, under normal circumstances, you wouldn't necessarily be taking their lives, strictly speaking. So, as long as the brain is supplied with oxygen, a cyborg can survive most anything, even if respiration is disabled. An emergency supply of liquid oxygen would remain in the bloodstream. The cyborg would enter a state of hibernation, yes. But so long as the brainstem were retrieved intact, it could be attached to another body and revived.
That's how the two Gemini survived.
The Gemini? Ah, yes, the twin cyborgs from the motorcade.
But Desperado cyborgs are different.
Physical self-destruction is a fail-safe security measure. In any case, it is unfortunate that Prime Minister Mane was human. Perhaps if he had been a cyborg, he might have survived as well.
We'll never know. Besides, a robotic prime minister? I doubt anyone would accept that. Inside or outside the country.
Yes, I suppose fear always does trump logic when it comes to the general public.
Exactly.
Brighton, something I meant to ask in our last chat. Did you consider opting for emotion restraints? I can understand one might be leery of the procedure, but it is all perfectly reversible, I assure you. You could implement them for a mission and then do away with them as soon as it was over.
I'll pass, thanks. To be honest, I have a problem with the whole concept.
And what is that?
Decisions are about more than just logic. Lose your emotions, and you risk not being able to relate to how normal people see right and wrong. Your conscience could end up different, warped, or who knows, maybe gone altogether. Boris agrees. That's why no Maverick cyborgs are allowed to use emotion restraints.
An understandable perspective. There is some data to support your belief. MRI scans have isolated the brain activity associated with choosing between good and bad. Mostly in the dorsolateral prefrontal and central orbitofrontal cortexes, to be precise. But this entire area of the brain is known to process emotion, not logical thought. It would seem to support the idea that emotion indeed plays a role in values-based decisions.
Well, there you go.
But another argument can be made, that it is emotion that sparks human conflict in the first place. All the great wars, all the great atrocities, would they have happened if not for emotional decisions?
Maybe not. But we can't just ignore the worldview of most of the planet. We don't exist in a vacuum here. To most of the world, a PMC operating on its own guidelines would be like a terrorist organization. They'd say we used brute force to impose our strange values on others. And they'd be right.
Yes, well, you have a point.
Abuse of emotion restraints has become a hot topic. Suppressing fear tends to boost aggression, which has led to cases of excessive violence.
True, achieving the right balance is difficult.
But on the other hand, it makes it possible to intentionally make people more aggressive. Even a child can become a bomb just waiting to explode.
Yes, it is very likely that Desperado is employing just such a technique.
Doc, that wolf you...
Why do you...
Just...
Well, with new... Assume... Whatever.
I'll see...
Of course.
But let's... Cause if...
In the neuro hard...
So it...
No,
Okay,
I
so-
could even...
So it...
I would make...
Glad...
I assume that conversation... I didn't know why Blade Wolf came back to life originally,
Right.
but that
What's
would
up?
explain a lot.
Okay, save complete. Don't let your guard down, okay?
All right, boys, showtime. I think half an hour of fucking... God, I missed that so much the first time. I didn't realize there was so much. Fucking ridiculous. Okay, I don't think they know. Oh, shit. We got him, boys. That could have been smoother, though. I will admit. I wonder. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Make sure no one's hiding in the, any of these little dilly-tingers. It's okay, we're not taking damage. It's damage, but it's imaginary damage. It doesn't count. Still gotta get used to that. See, there's even goodies here for the average man. Depending on your definition of the word. Like, that's the part that I like, is like the game clearly tells you, like, oh yeah, you can chop the shit out of this thing. Like, I ain't gonna say no. I remember there being like dudes who hid in boxes. Maybe is that not a thing anymore? Yeah, some things don't change. Okay, looks like it's showtime, boys. I know all about homing missiles. And all the fun they have to offer. Depending on who you talk to. Yeah, I'm not exactly packing it like Mr. Hot Stuff right now. Oh, come on, you fucking... It's okay, everything's going according to plan, boys. I know all about how to deal with anti-anal. It's okay, he can't run away forever. We even got him right where we want him. It sucks, because we could stun him, but there's no reason to. Oh, shit. Just stand still and let me kill you. Is it that hard to ask? It's not a very big ass. I didn't feel like it was. Oh, shit. It's okay. Almost got him. Just gotta convince him to stop being an asshole. There, he's fucking dead. And we got him, boys. I will admit, I do kind of like find it mildly entertaining that I can just chop all this shit to pieces. I set all the settings to highest for like most obtuse destruction possible. That and the fact that I can just like fucking mulch this shit for no reason. That'll never not be entertaining. Let's see, are there any goodies hiding around? It's been a busy day, boys and girls, but it's always good to be back. Oh shit, there's a guy. Some civvies.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try and hide here. Looks to me like Russian spies.
Hey, we are just...
Well, we can't let him give away our Contact!
Oh, he's fucking dead.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try and hide here. Looks to me like Russian spies.
Hey, we are just...
Well, we can't let him give away our position. Waste him. We'll fill out the paperwork later.
No, please.
Fuck. What if I just do this?
You gotta be pretty stupid.
Okay, so I can't bum rush them. I basically have to chop them on the way down. Ooh, I could use that.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try and hide here. Looks to me like Russian spies.
Hey, we are just...
I fucked up.
Well, we can't let him give away our position.
What if I use, as for
Waste
that?
him. We'll fill out the paperwork later.
No, please. I will do anything.
There we go, that's more like it. As long as the civvy doesn't die, we should be good. Is what I'd say if the civvy didn't die. But he did. How the fuck am I supposed to save this asshole? I think this is the same guy who died every time I played this the first time. I'll hit him with the old wombo combo. Yeah, that worked. We got him, boys. I didn't realize these things would be so easy to take out. I thought they had more armor. I think it's the first time I was ever able to save this dude.
You saved my life. Thank you.
He sounds mysteriously like the Doctor.
That's a civvy riding.
I'll be honest, kind of surprised that worked at all. Fucking, I didn't realize they gave you the tool. Maybe, maybe I'm fucking dumb. I don't know, I don't feel dumb. Maybe I'm dumb. Turns out the real dummy was the friends we made along the way. Yeah, that'll do it. Let's see, is there anything else hiding around here? I think we've had our little fun in the sun. Oh, hey, there's another upwards area over here. Ooh, prizes and surprises. Ah. I should have known. You can't hide from me, amigo. I don't even think I get anything if I do the VR missions. I think they're just like for funsies. Like, hey, I heard you enjoy getting your ass handed to you. Would you like to maybe do it more often? Just play one of these missions, because they suck. Like, seriously. They're fucking awful.
So that's where they're holed up.
Some kind of electronic lock on the gate.
Most likely it opens only if you have the right ID data stored in your left hand. Perhaps you could find a cyborg with access and borrow it?
You see any cyborgs around here, Doc?
Why not double back? Check the vehicle route again. You know, back at the entrance to the old city. Who knows? Maybe you can hitch a ride. Most likely, platoon commanders carry correct ID data for the gate. Use enhanced mode to figure out who to hit.
So I get past the gate and into the hotel. Then what?
This road ends at the hotel. Enter and you should be able to reach a hill from the roof. That hotel was used by the nomenclatura, high-ranking Communist Party bureaucrats. All destroyed now, of course, but in Soviet days, full of luxury. Anyway, you should be able to reach a hill from hotel roof. There are more Soviet ruins past that hill. Get through there, and you will reach the rear of the refinery.
Head for the hotel roof. Got it. Boris, any idea where they're getting the money to fund this operation? Assembling this many cyborgs can't come cheap. Not to mention getting them all here.
There are two questions we have about the money. Is Dolzaev paying Desperado out of his own pocket?
And if not, then who is?
Duh. We do not know size of Dolzaev's war chest, only that he has some funding. Insurgent does not always mean the dirt-poor guerrilla with the hunting rifle and homemade bomb. Some rebel groups are very well funded. In Arab oil nations, for instance.
Right. They have benefactors who share the same ideology.
There is also a chance some other party is backing Desperado directly, creating conflict for their own reasons, like the Patriots used to. Many groups stand to profit from wars, yes? Not just PMCs. Arms maker, contractor. Perhaps it is this kind of corporation behind him.
The oil interests alone could make billions here.
Duh. Already this violence so near the Abkhazia-Sochi pipeline is affecting markets. An interruption in the pipeline would shift the balance of power between the world's oil giants. Whether it's Dolzaev's goal or no, many groups stand to gain a lot of money from this mess.
Yes, the water slashed their desk. Was difference? Actually get that. Won't someone make a rabbi skin? Implying it doesn't already exist on the Nexus.
Raiden, I've been thinking. What Sundowner said. How peace in Africa was a problem for him. Do you remember?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like somebody fighting for an anti-Inmani faction, does it? The Prime Minister definitely had his detractors. Anyone in that position would. But he listened to them, treated them fairly. There was no real injustice for the opposition to rally around. So the rival factions never got that popular or that well-funded. There's no way they could afford all this.
But it does not make sense for Desperado to be acting alone here either. Even if they trigger full-blown war, there is no guarantee they would get the contract. Perhaps this is about natural resources? The last civil war was over precious metals.
You think big business hired Desperado to shake things up?
Who can say? At least it has not grown into a real civil war. Yet.
We need to figure out who's at the root of all this if we're gonna end it.
But knowing is only half the battle. It is the other half that will get you killed.
Well, no matter what, this mission has a nice side benefit. Putting a dent in Desperado will screw whoever's backing them, too.
Our focus is to help the Abkhaz people. But if we hurt those responsible for this on the way, well, so be it.
Yeah, I saw a few threads for Hi-Fi Rush. It definitely caught my interest. I don't know what the game consists of, but would you recommend it to someone who's played Gravity Rush, or is it just Rush in the name? I heard people who liked Jet Set Radio would also like it. And is this a listen to every codec message? It's a DMC, like... Oh, like, what was it, like Killer is Dead? Or do I got that mixed up with something else? No. Like Bayonetta. Or DMC. Metal Gear Rising. Or Killer 7. It was one of those. Because the art style reminded me of like the Blood Plus PS2 game. And yeah, we're listening to... Remember, the first time we played Metal Gear Rising, like 2 years ago, back when I first got a computer, I never listened to any of the codec situations because I'd never really played Metal Gear before. I didn't fucking know what people were talking about. They were just like, oh yeah, let me hit people with as many fucking acronyms as possible. And I'm just sitting here like, I just want to listen to Funny Meme Man talk about how he played college ball.
So I get past the gate and into...
That
I already heard this one.
You'll need to score an ID if you want to get through that gate. Head back to the old town entrance. You'll need to score an ID if you want to get through... Head back...
The enemy cyborg's ID information is embedded into the memories in their left hands. Most likely, that's what the gate is scanning for. Depending on your ID, you would only have clearance for certain gates.
Convenient.
No more fumbling around with a pocket full of card keys. But you must cut off a left hand before it explodes, or else the ID will be erased.
And then it's back to square one. Hey, Doc. Kev mentioned a lot of the high-ranking military were brain-jacked. Can you give me any more on that?
Well, it is not my area of expertise, but I have working knowledge of such matters, yes. Much of it is similar to cybernetics, you know.
Makes sense. A cyborg's frame is reading signals directly from the brain.
Indeed. Brainjacking employs nanomachines to stop these signals from reaching a normal body. The pilot can then substitute their own signals and control the victim. They can govern all motor movement, but not the victim's thoughts. It is not mind control. More like a puppet. The subject will not move on their own. The pilot must send control signals.
You can't just implant an idea like a hypnotist.
Precisely. You must manipulate them directly. Now, there are several methods for doing this. The pilot can act out the desired behavior and send the resulting electric impulses in real time. For example, the master raises his right hand, the victim does the same. The master says, Arschgeige, and the victim does as well.
Yeah, I get the idea, Doc.
Another method is to set an AI in control as a victim. Less convincing, but less labor-intensive. The AI can access the subject's memory center, at least, to recognize acquaintances and the like.
But anyone looks really closely, and the gig is up.
Mimicking behavior from surface memories is difficult, you know. Quite difficult. AIs are still very poor at replicating more subtle cues, such as the manner of speaking. As a result, often the victim can barely pass as a human, much less any certain individual. With the current tech, a passing acquaintance might be fooled, but not a close friend. Not for long.
Good. The idea of AIs controlling people is bad enough. At least I'll be able to tell if it happens to someone I know.
Okay, that explains the whole brain jacking thing that they mentioned. I don't know what any of those songs are or any of those bands. I'm sure Nin is like some kind of Japanese band. The game is only 30. Oh, I didn't realize it was that old already. 9 Inch Nails. Ah. Oh, did you know 9 Inch Nails was actually the inspiration for a lot of fucking, Did they do the music for the original Doom, or was it the inspiration for it? I'll go halvesies on it if you want it. Inspiration. Okay. Fucking, it's on the list. I'm debating if I'd rather play that. What was it? Play Hi-Fi Rush first, or I think I want to play Signalis first, because it looked really good. Are you musically inclined now? No, I don't give a shit usually. I can tell when I'm listening to good music. Like, obviously the soundtrack for Metal Gear Rising is absolutely stellar, but like, you need a sense. Oh, does it play kind of like Crypt of the Necrodancer? Then yes. Yeah, I should be fine. You're talking to someone who fucking perfected every song in Dancing All Night for Persona 4.
So, Doc, if brainjacking can access someone's memory, can't we basically see everything in their past?
Well, that would depend on precisely what you mean by see their past. The brain does not store every single detail the senses take in, you know. It records highlights, further simplified into a highly symbolic form, all to lighten the amount of data. We know how the brain reacts to what it was previously aware of. We can even gauge the emotion provoked. But reproducing memories? No. I've seen little progress in research to this area.
But say we directly linked my brainstem with the nanomachines of a brainjacking victim. Couldn't I read their memories?
There have been attempts at such things, but it is not so simple, you know. The connections between successive memories make up one's identity. If you disturb that, for example, say we remove all memories you have of being yourself and replace them with my own.
Yeah.
You would feel you was a great Dr. Wilhelm Vogt. You would behave very similar to how I do. However, what if instead you kept your own memories and we added mine to them? You would feel you are both Raiden and Wilhelm Vogt. Suddenly your memories would not lead one to the next. You would be confused, disoriented, without a sense of which man you were, and thus how you should behave. So, you see, the very concept is not practical for most military applications. In trying to read an enemy's mind, you would, in a sense, become that enemy.
You wouldn't know which side you were fighting for.
Precisely. Cyborg memories are completely different, of course. A cyborg's visuals are often monitored by outside parties, much as we do with yours. This visual data can, of course, be recorded for later analysis. All with full video and all in the holographic memory in their left hands.
So you can just sit back and enjoy the movie?
Well, it's not always recorded, mind you. And even then, there's the issue of locating the desired data buried inside all that video. You might need to comb 10 days of recordings from 10 cyborgs to find a single person or document. That is 100 days of work. Even replay double speed, 50 days.
Can't you automate the search?
Of course. You can flag any time a certain face appears or if certain words are said. But the process is not perfect, and it still requires time, you know. Besides which, often one doesn't know what they are searching for until they find it. But should you ever require a search through your memory, Raiden, I would be happy to assist you.
Yeah, for a modest fee, I'm sure.
Oh, I saw the one. Is it about the, like, super meta fucking discussion? And then at the end, he's like, enjoy your wife, who's Raiden. Yeah, well, I was gonna post it in the Discord, but I don't have Discord Nitro, so I can't do that. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious. And also kind of fucked up, but, you know, this is how Skynet starts. I'm down for it. Let's fuck shit up. I am willing to run the risk of Skynet taking over if it means I get android titties in my face sooner. I'm waiting. Fucking just do it.
I have to say, Doc, it's almost scary everything nanomachines are capable of. SOP, brainjacking.
Oh, but the cyborg is capable of even more.
You think?
I do. With nanomachines. You know this name has always bothered me, nanomachine. They are much more than smaller versions of existing machines. So much more. You cannot just take a motor and make it all teeny tiny, you know? A human chromosome is 10 micrometers long, roughly. A nanometer is 1/100th that length. These devices must be crafted at the molecular level to work at that scale. It is far more to do with molecular biology than mechanical engineering.
Okay, Doc, but where are you going with it?
It is, however, now possible to create proteins that simulate viral functions, effectively fooling natural human cells into taking on a wide range of less conventional characteristics, boosting strength or resilience or even regenerative ability. Not to CNT muscle fiber levels, of course. After all, these molecules and proteins can only make use of the materials at hand. That is to say, the atoms that naturally occur within the human body.
I'm not sure I follow. Are you saying cyborg tech is already more advanced than nanomachines?
Well, not necessarily. But the potential for future growth seems much greater, does it not? Natural means can only rearrange what is already there. Boost one ability too far, and you might take away from another. If the human race is to truly evolve, I believe we must shed this DNA-driven organic flesh and exchange it for something far more functional. Cyborg technology seems better suited to this purpose, at least in terms of military applications. But then, who knows? A revolution in nanotechnology could be occurring even as we speak. Progress rarely takes the form we expect, you know? Such is the great frustration and glory of science. The enemy cyborg's ID, most likely that's what the gate is scanning for. Depending on your ID, you would only have clearance for certain gates.
Convenient.
No more fumbling, but you...
And then...
Yeah, I already heard that one.
Hey, Courtney. Have you ever tried Abkhazian cuisine?
Georgian, yes, but, I mean, I don't really know much about Abkhazia, so... It'd be nice to try it, though, since we're this close and all.
Huh. Even you haven't tried it? Now I'm really curious.
What do you mean, even me?
Well, before we head to any new country, you always hit up local spots that serve their cuisine, right? You know, your little research trips.
Oh, come on. Not always. I just think it's interesting to compare local interpretations of ethnic food to the real thing. Plus, it's a great way to get familiar with a big part of any nation's culture. That's all.
Okay. But no time for research this time around, huh?
Well, like I said, I've had Georgian food before. And most of the Eastern Bloc sees Abkhazia as just another part of Georgia. But yeah, really tasty. They had this incredible cheese bread. Ugh, and the wine.
Georgian wine is famous after all, though I hear you won't find it in Russia.
They say most Abkhazian cuisine is closer to Turkish food than what you'll find in the rest of Georgia. Apparently only their wine resembles what they serve in Georgia.
I think you and Chip cheese them. Fuck, that's good. Georgia, I don't understand what's so great. Like, American cuisine isn't that amazing, but everyone's like, oh yeah, just go to Georgia. They have great shit. Like, it's not that great if it's in the U.S. It's like saying, oh yeah, I had a pizza in New York and it changed my life. Like, you're what the fuck? Georgia, the country. Never heard of it.
How are things back at Control, Courtney?
Things? Things are fine. Same as usual, I guess. Russia is, you know, Russia. Not that I've left HQ much to see anything, really.
No concerns about security? Isn't that a civilian airport you're stationed at?
Sochi International, yeah. But we're fine. We have our own cyborg detail on the job. Plus, any trouble and we can just take off. Literally. One of the perks of housing your HQ in a giant transport plane, I guess. Nah, if anyone wanted to mess up this op, they'd have a much easier time coming after you directly.
I'm not so sure. Have you seen this new body in action? It's amazing. It's ready for anything. Unless they...
Oh, Raiden, yeah. Your body? It's so amazing.
Very funny. Yeah, you know what I meant.
Oh, is it getting hot in here? Or is that just your body in action?
All right. If you're done, I'm going to get back to the mission.
Okay, I'll stop.
Thanks.
For a guy with a bod like yours, anytime.
Cheese bread, God, that sounds like it fucking... I would say it warms my heart, K-Mills, but I think it'd be the cholesterol. And only humans who've ever... Wait, do people skip a lot of the codex in these? In the Metal Gear games? They're so important, though. Just they offer so much. Dude, I fucking, like, almost doubled my playtime.
Interesting on that tilt rotor back in Africa.
Desperado's getaway vehicle? What do you got?
I traced its registration. It comes up as a, get this, mail transport. A Somali civilian helicopter.
Not even the right type of aircraft. So the registration is fake. Well, par for the course for Desperado, I guess.
I wonder why they bothered with the tilt rotor in the first place.
Why not? They can take off and land without an airstrip, virtually anywhere. Hover, too. Meanwhile, they have the speed and range of a fixed-wing plane, or close to it. And they're quiet. You don't get all that BVI noise from the blades like with a normal copter.
Aren't they more accident-prone, though?
They were. Used to call them Widowmakers. The rotor tech is really complex. There've been a lot of mishaps over the years, but each one's helped perfect the design. These days, they're as safe as any other aircraft, helicopter or fixed wing. Most of VTOL's bad rep is left over from the thrust vectoring jets of the past.
Ah, no wonder you know all this. Says here you took down a Harrier once. Wait, by yourself?
Well, I did have a rocket launcher. Wasn't so tough while it was in hover mode.
I bet you're just being modest. Must have been a pretty crazy op you were on.
You don't know the half of it.
Yeah, well, what was it? The first time I played through this, I didn't listen to any of this, but this game has a fuck ton of codec conversations. I didn't understand it the first time through, so I skipped them all, and now I actually, like, know what's happening. And fucking... I know it's great. There's, like, so much more content the second time around. The, like, balls to the walls run is... I'm playing this on hard, so I could jump right to Revengeance difficulty, and we're basically just gonna fucking go, like, full tilt. What was it? No cut... What is it? All the meme cutscenes, no codex, and just nuts. You know what's happening already. No, I don't. I had no idea what the fuck was happening the first time I played this. All I know was, a great meme. Exquisite. That was my impression of, like, the whole fucking game. I'd never played Metal Gear before that. This was, like, the first Metal Gear I played. I thought the whole series was going to be like this. And then I play it, and then he's like, brother, do you like my sunglasses? And then fucking Raiden gets his balls touched, and some guy goes, you're a man? And then fucking Metal Gear Solid 3 happens, and Snake goes, it even rained on the day I was born. And then Metal Gear Solid 4 happens, and he says, we're all sons of the Patriots now. And then Metal Gear Solid 5 happens, and he says, damn, Revolver Ocelot, it seems like me, you, and Miller were the real Diamond Dogs all along. Fucking, it's, there you go, that's, that's the entirety of the franchise. And then Metal Gear Acid happens, and it's like, hey, Snake's an alcoholic. Or jet throttles would have ball-shaped grips. Well, it's like playing with the shaft.
What's up? Okay, save complete. Don't let your guard down, okay?
Yeah, but that was on PlayStation 4 like 3 or 4 years ago when it first released. How long has it been since Death Stranding, actually? Because I played it, I believe, like as soon as it dropped. I played it like as soon as it dropped. Which of these assholes? Oh, he's over in that one. Okay, I gotta chop that guy's arm off. he's being an asshole. And... Huzzah, bitch! Eat my ass!
Bravo! Excellent work. There was classified data embedded in that hand. It appears that man underwent modification at the Patriot facility, just as you did.
Wow. That worked out very easily. I saw a truck. I don't know where the hell it disappeared off to. What? Oh, it's these assholes. Oh, no. Okay, so it turns out chopping the shit out of these guys is the best approach. Should have guessed. Oh, fuck you, idiot! Ow. There we go. Super excellent. Anyway, as I was saying, fucking, did we ever finish talking? Yeah, I don't know when Death Stranding was released, but I played it on launch. I'm actually really excited for Death Stranding 2. I know a lot of people are shitting on it, but like Death Stranding 1 was fucking awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I don't care what people say. Like, oh, a walking simulator, and I'm like, yeah, it's because you need more than a fucking lukewarm IQ to play the game. I'm sorry we can't all be brain dead. Like, oh, all you do is what? Like, fucking, there's no enemies. Like, there are enemies. The enemy is the terrain. And you better hop on that shit, boy, or else you're gonna suck.
So I get past the...
That hold is anyway.
Head for... Hey, Kev. That piece of shit who killed Imani. Is he one of those almighty winds?
Yeah. Goes by Sundowner. It's a folk name for this warm air current in Southern California. He's also, well, not the formal head of Desperado, but pretty much their de facto leader. Let's see. Born in Alabama, family was poor. Solid student, decent grades, but no money for college, so he joined the army. Says he fought in Panama in '89, then Iraq again, Afghanistan. In 2008, he drops out of the service and starts doing merc work for various PMCs. He was active all through the SOP years. Built up quite a reputation. Apparently, the Sundowner handle comes from all the blood he leaves behind. Looks like the sunset. Anyway, an IED put him out of action for a few years. But then, cyborg tech brought him out of retirement. The Army investigated him for possible war crimes. A few times, looks like. Desecrating remains, torturing POWs, some wrongful deaths. No convictions, though.
Pretty rosy past, huh? Not that I'm one to talk.
Hey, come on, buddy. You know that's not fair. You were just a kid. You didn't know what you were doing. And it's not like they gave you a choice.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev. Kev, you dig up anything more on Jetstream Sam?
Yeah, actually a bit. Still a lot of missing pieces.
I'll take what I can.
Right. Full name, Samuel Rodriguez. Born in Brazil, so I guess that'd be more like Samuel Rodriguez. He's actually not one of the Winds of Destruction. He's not even a Desperado employee.
Yeah. Didn't seem like your typical PMC to me.
His father ran a Brazilian Kenjutsu dojo.
Genjutsu. That's a school of Japanese swordplay.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Japanese immigrated to Brazil way back when. They brought martial arts with them. Those evolved and became their own offshoots. You've heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's their variation on Judo. Brazilian Kenjutsu's the same kind of thing. A different evolution of the old samurai sword skills. Bit of capoeira and some other stuff mixed in. Anyway, I did some digging. Apparently, the Rodriguez dojo was a big proponent of the Uridachi style.
Uridachi, a.k.a. Setsujinken, the murdering sword. Basically the polar opposite of my sword of justice.
Rodriguez Kenjutsu uses kicks, sword butts, even throws. Unpredictable and very deadly. Anyway, this is interesting. Sam's father was killed by one of his pupils. There were rumors one of the cartels was involved, but it's not clear how or why. After that, Sam disappears for a while, then comes back, kills the guy who killed his dad, and leaves Brazil. He travels the world for a while, taking odd jobs, bodyguard, cleaner for the mob, etc., etc. Made a big name for himself in the criminal underworld, especially in Central and South America. One story has Sam taking out a mafia hit squad, 10 men, all with assault rifles, using only his sword.
Not unheard of for a cyborg.
This was back in the early 2000s.
Come on. He did that without enhancements? And pre-SOP?
That's the story anyway. And he's a cyborg now, so he could only be stronger. Not to freak you out or anything.
I told you, Kev. I got a reading on his fighting style from last time. And my body's been upgraded. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh. I know you will be. Ride it. Head for the...
I like the fact that Jetstream Sam is literally just some absolutely kitted out motherfucker.
You must continue along.
Like that's his whole shtick. Like he's not like totally made of metal like Muy Caliente. And he has like the best shit-eating grin I've ever fucking seen. Dude is just cash money. He's a meme, but he's a good meme. But how did this asshole see me?
These rifles Desperado's using. Mac 200s, right? Same as Maverick's standard issue. Nice weapon. Not that any gun is much use against a cyborg.
Duh. The 200 is a thing of beauty. We were one of the first to adopt them 3 years ago. It has minimal muzzle flash and report when firing, and little recoil. Plus, the ejection port near the muzzle makes it good in both left and right hand. Rare for bullpup rifle. Easy maintenance, tough enough to take some dirt without jamming every shot, and it takes standard NATO magazine, so you can find ammo on almost any mission, anywhere in the world.
Sounds like somebody's in love.
Well, it reminds me of the good old days. Most Soviet gear was trash, yes, but the rifles, the rifles. The best in the world. And it seems I'm not the only one to appreciate them.
Apparently not. I see Macs everywhere these days.
They've spread all over the world, and so quickly. Still, I am sad to see Desperado using them against us.
Well, not much we can do about it now.
Such an elegant weapon, waved around Stado Pridurkov. Что вы столи?
Okay, Boris, okay. Just calm down.
It looks like they've deployed upgraded cyborgs, and equipped with blades, no less. I'm sure they've been trained well with them. Be careful, Raiden. Parrying a single strike means nothing if they land a combo attack on you after.
These rifles, Desperado. Nice.
It has blast, easy, and
Sounds.
they've
Well.
set.
Sorry, buddy. I got nothing right now. Maybe try asking Doctor or Boris.
It appears they have sent in specially enhanced cyborgs. That armor is quite a bit tougher. It will take more than a single strike in blade mode to dismember them. Start with a barrage of attacks. If you can weaken them sufficiently, eventually you can cut them open. Land a flurry of strikes against the cyborg and his brain-machine interface may malfunction. This will take him momentarily offline. The same applies to UGs as well. Strike often enough and their AIs become unable to keep up with the required real-time processing. Make that happen, and you can enjoy a decisive advantage. Assuming you have sufficient power, you could even enter blade mode and finish the fight right there. No matter how strong their armor, getting knocked offline leaves them completely vulnerable. It appears they have sent people to...
You okay? No? Just be careful.
All right, showtime. Where's this? There he is. Oh! Fuck you, idiot!
Get off!
Where's his buddy? There he is. Remember, we always got to take out both our arms if we can. Oh, he's got friends. I'm in the money. Oh shit. Feels good to be the best, baby. Ow. Fucking wanker. Oh, it's this guy. He's going for it. I could just... Oh, the poor bastard! Jesus Christ! That's so fucking broken! Oh, that was good. That was good. He just sits there like 11 and lets me beat the fuck out of him. What's he gonna do? Fight back? He's gonna hit me with his disposition. Maybe. Maybe. It's also a really easy way to get a long ass fucking combo. A 3D photo frame. Use that to get our hands on a couple nudies. Are we trying to go? Yeah, we're trying to go all the way up there. So we're gonna go back down. Probably asking yourself, but Mason, why? Because we're very thorough. This game has some hell chivos. Yeah, I heard getting like a full S rank across the board on this is fucking cancer. Also, there's a thing up there, isn't there? I'm retarded. Yeah, I chopped something I shouldn't have.
Get to the plan. First, make your way to the hotel roof.
I'm sorry, my instincts to just start chopping. Oh yeah, that and the all the VR missions that this game has to offer are also fucking cancer. They are not fun. They are the opposite of fun. I wonder, can I give this thing the chop? Nope. Okie dokie. But yes, you are very correct in that assessment of that being ultra mega ass. It is incredibly balls. But that's okay. We expected it. Albeit, you know, like the towering piles of stuff kind of make me want to do shit like that. Oh, we don't need to jump on there. It leads over here. That and finding all, like, the hidden dudes. I've never been able to find all the dudes hiding in boxes. No matter how much furniture I chop, like, the last dude just never appears because, fuck it. So I just have to, like, run around and chop the hell out of crap. I mean, we beat all the other games on, like, the highest difficulty, so I'm not worried about any more challenges at this point.
So I get past the gate.
That hold is anyway. There are...
Head.
The wizard game?
Check your destiny.
Oh, Noida. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Noida. Hogwarts. What about Hogwarts? Oh, fucking, what was it? Hogwarts Mystery. That fucking mobile game? The new game. They released another one? I didn't realize there's a lot of mobile games for that.
Dozaev. That woman.
Raiden, what's happening? Your heart rate spiked.
Protecting his virginity at a record speed.
I just dodged a bullet. All right, I'm heading for the refinery.
Everything plays. Oh, I didn't realize they made a whole new game. Why did they make it like God of War though? I'm not sure I understand that. The CEO of Virginity.
Boris, I got a visual on Dozaev and Mistral. Looked like they were arguing over something. Mistral's heading up the force at the refinery, correct? We're sure on that?
Yes, but I'm not sure how good a commander she is. As a fighter, talented, yes, I know, but...
Well, neither one looked very happy. Maybe she'll withdraw.
Oh, I doubt that. She may not like him, but she will follow her orders. She is just the leader on the ground here, I think. Someone else is calling the shots behind cover.
All right. But what's the end game here? Say I die and we can't stop them. Then what? Are they even capable of forming a real government? Do they think the people here would support Dozaev?
Good questions, Tovarich. History shows it is a much easier thing to take a government than to keep it. An unpopular regime can only ignore the will of the people for so long before they rise up. And trying to do all this with PMC soldiers? Difficult. And very, very expensive.
Someone else must be bankrolling this for their own reasons. Someone with very deep pockets. Who stands to benefit the most from all this?
Most likely someone with an interest in that refinery. The plant has pipelines connecting with Sochi in Russia and Supsa in Georgia. Crude oil from the Caspian Sea is refined in Sukhumi and then sent on to Russia.
Oil. I wonder if Dozaev knows he's being used. Then again, I wonder if he'd even care.
I wanted to hear British people screeching. I'd play Xenoblade and actually have fun. Xenoblade was a Japanese game. Fucking... is it really that bad? I don't know. I liked Harry Potter a lot as a kid, so I thought that might be fun to play on stream. $10,000 BP. Ah, yes, the Fox Blade. Frankie Yeager. In a game because stinky, rowling, hateful. I don't remember anything from the, what was it? I don't remember anything from the series of, like, Harry Potter being hateful, I guess. I don't know what people are complaining about. The boycott it and people buying it to own delivs. 200K. If I save up enough, I could just skip straight to the Foxblade. Or I could just up the shit out of this. Let's see, do I want moves or... it's like that one guy, and he's like, when he's like, fuck, I can't say that. Shit. Would have been funny though. I thought it would have been funny. And ass pulling near the end. I can't disagree with that one. Say, did you put your, what is it, all caps, Dumbledore screaming, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore asked calmly.
Right. You need to save?
Did you catch all that? With Dosaev and Mistral?
Yeah, I was monitoring the whole time. Dolzayev's not really what I expected. I've seen his file, plenty of photos, but I guess I expected someone more, I don't know, threatening?
Didn't seem too friendly to me.
No, I mean, you hear terrorist, you think of some cold, calculating professional. Dolzayev looks more like some guy off the street.
Cold, calculating professional types don't usually bother with terrorism. It's too risky. Most terrorists are ordinary people, radicalized one way or another.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of course, that doesn't make what they do any easier to forgive. What about Mistral? What'd you think?
Well, she's certainly attractive. Probably an artificial face, though. I'm guessing most of her is artificial.
Roger that.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm cool with it if she is. I'm down if she is. Very exhaustive and ass pulley. A terrorist in a society. Oh yeah, good news for you boys and girls. We do have the new desk. We're rocking it right now. I'm picking up the monitors from the office tomorrow, though tomorrow is my first on-call. Time for Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, time for fucking bed, you mean. What is it? I'm picking up the monitors from the office tomorrow. Tomorrow night is going to be my first on-call, though. So, don't be surprised if I get, like, an urgent thing on my phone while I'm streaming and I have to, like, leave for work. Because if a server goes offline, I have to, like, bing, bang, boom, fix it fucking immediately. But, yeah, tomorrow ought to be fun. Weren't you supposed to have this shit done 3 days ago? Fucking hell. I didn't want to leave my house. I'm sorry. The mount hasn't showed up yet, so it doesn't fucking matter. The only reason I'm even going into work tomorrow instead of just sleeping in and working from home is because everyone keeps shooting me a message telling me my monitors are at the office. I know they're at the office, but there's no point. It's a perfectly normal ching-chong name. I know they're at the office, but there's no fucking mount. What do I do? I can't just look at them. The cool thing is there is enough space here. Like, switching between work shit and, like, you know, hashtag gamer stuff is actually really easy. It's one of the things I'm digging so far. Like, my monitor is sitting on my desk with my laptop that we're streaming from right now. Like, my really shitty monitor that I don't play games on. I use it for work. I'll mount you, you little bitch. Fucking, I hope the mount shows up soon. It was supposed to show up today, but it didn't. I guess. I'm waiting. It'll get here eventually. But yeah, I'm going into the office tomorrow. I managed to work out today. Friday, we still haven't figured out what we're gonna do. Honestly, I might get drunk and play this if we're not jamming with Gabe. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do on Friday. Because booze and rising seem like a lot of fun. And now I can play this game on max settings and on, like, extremely high resolution. The game's going to look amazing. You'll be able to see the pixels. Okay, but it's bedtime. I gotta be up in 8 hours for work, so I'm going to bed. On that note, boys and girls, yeah, I'm actually sore from today. Fucking, yeah, we're still in the middle of, like, the merger and everything, so it's been super busy. So if I seem, like, more tired, don't be surprised. It's been 3 weeks of, like, non-stop. I'm hoping we hit, like, December levels of chill. But as it stands right now, it's literally just like bam, 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 bam. There's, like, fucking no downtime. It was supposed to stop 2 weeks ago, but we're down, like, 5 people. So, you know, it'll get better. But for now, it sucks. And your boy's fucking tired. However, boys and girls, I'm calling it here. So we'll pick this up tomorrow. And that's that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Mason FM with the evening hour. God bless you. God bless this stream. And God bless SOP. See you tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow night with more of that stellar content I know you love. Time to go chop that vas deferens with Metal Gear vasectomy.